Good afternoon. I saw that in a Sefer Maloch, Rav Avram Tzvi Kluger brings down an interesting mashal from the Baal Shem Tov with regards to Rosh HaShana, and then a point to be learned from it that I wanted to share with you and maybe add a little bit of my own. This mashal comes from the Sefer Avos Shalom. Once upon a time, the animals rebelled against the lion. And the lion became very angry, and the other animals realized they better do something in order to appease the lion. So the fox, the smartest of all the animals, said to them, listen, let's all go together to the king, and I know 300 parables that will convince the king to be appeased as far as your behavior is concerned. So they went with him. And as they were going, they had traveled part of the way. And the fox said to them, you know something, guys? I wanted to appease the king with the wonderful parables that I have, but guess what? I forgot about half of them. But don't worry. The king will probably be appeased with the second half that I still remember. So they continued on going, and they finally got to the king's palace. And the fox said to them, listen, don't get too nervous, guys, but I just want to tell you that I realize now that I forgot all of the parables entirely. But don't worry, come with me, because maybe the king will find that he likes us anyway, and to listen to our cries and our shouts. What else can we do but to cry out to the king to have mercy on us? So they had no choice. They continued on with him. They came to the king. They fell to the ground, and the fox said, please forgive us. We thought we were going to have all sorts of things to say to you to convince you to forgive us, and everybody has come along with me. But the fact of the matter is I forgot everything. And you could do whatever you want to us, but we're going to ask you to please have mercy on us. And needless to say, the story has a happy ending. When the king heard their cries and saw that they were broken-hearted, he forgave them. And the nimshal, the message of this parable is as follows. Many of us, when the month of Elul begins, as it did this week, enter into the month full of all sorts of different plans and ideas of things that we are going to do in preparation for Rosh HaShana and Yom Kippur. Things that we are going to do in order that when Rosh Hashanah comes around, when Yom Kippur comes around, there's no question whatsoever that Hashem will be so blown over by what we have done, the work we have done in preparation for Rosh Hashanah, that Hashem will forgive us. And I mean that in all seriousness. I'm not being facetious. I'm talking about people who actually take this time of year with all of the appropriate seriousness and truly, genuinely want to do the learning and actions that it would take to be able to come to Rosh Hashanah in a new and improved way. But the fact of the matter is that by the time we're halfway through the month of Elul, we start to realize that despite all of our good intentions, we're still not going to be able to really come before Hashem with anything to really convince him to change his mind about us. And that all of our great plans that we had when the month began, we're not even going to be able to actualize half of them. But we convinced ourselves, well, we still have the other half. So I might have to drop half my plans, but let me continue on with the other half. But if we're honest with ourselves, by the time Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur come around, we realize that the rest of what we were planning to do so that we can come to Hashem as our new improved selves, we're not really going to be where we wanted to be, where we planned to be, and certainly not being able to make a convincing case before Hashem that we deserve a good judgment. And I think that the reason is because as long as we still are of the mindset that everything is dependent on us, this is what I am going to do, this is what we are going to do, we're doomed to failure. And it's not until we realize that it has nothing to do with us. And then we have to turn to Hashem as we do in the words of our davening of Rosh HaShana and say, listen, I got nothing for you. I'm just simply begging and asking Hashem for your mercy and your kindness. When we realize that it's not up to us, but it's up to Hashem, that's when we'll end up getting Hashem's mercy and Hashem's kindness and a good judgment on Rosh Hashanah.